is crunch time now. We are on 29,837 subscribers, and remember, if we reach 30,000 by the 1st of January, which is just over a week away, then I will be introducing Serie A, La Liga and Bundesliga prediction videos to the channel. If we don't reach 30,000 subscribers, they will not be coming to the channel in January. I might do one, for example, but if we get 30,000 subscribers, as I made the deal with you this year, I will do all three at least for the season. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for Week 18 Premier League predictions. Now, I just want to say happy Christmas Eve to anyone that is excited about that. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas day tomorrow. Today, we're going to take a look at the Boxing Day fixtures as well as the 27th of December fixtures. Now, I'm recording this today on Christmas Eve, and the video is coming out today, so let's get straight into it. Shout out here to all of the new members that have joined the YouTube Members Club since the last time we did the shout-outs, and also, of course, flashing up on the screen are all of the people that have joined the Patreon for exclusive tips, accumulators, access to the group chat. You can DM me over there if you want, and if you do support the channel, then that would mean so much to me, and it makes videos like this possible. So if you want to shout out in every single video and access to exclusive tips and accumulators and everything like that, then be sure to click that first link in the description. Kicking it off, we have Manchester City up against Everton. Now, this is where I think Man City somewhat turned their fortunes around. Man City lost to Aston Villa 2-1, and let's be honest, that scoreline flattered them. It was a late consolation goal for Manchester City. Aston Villa honestly dominated them for large spells of that game and deservedly got the win. And Everton, another 0-0 draw, taking points away from the in-form Chelsea. So I think this will be low scoring, but I don't see another 0-0. I think Manchester City can just about get over the line. I think if the team they were playing was slightly higher quality than Everton, I would probably not predict Man City to win like I did last week against Aston Villa, but I'm going to say 1-0, and the tip is going to be Man City to win and under 3.5 goals at 2.2, because the odds of a Man City to win are like 1.3, 1.4. So to increase it by so much by saying it won't be a goal fest is pretty good, I would say. After this, it is high-flying Bournemouth up against Crystal Palace. Bournemouth currently in 5th place in the Premier League. Bournemouth beating Manchester United at Old Trafford again 3-0, and Crystal Palace losing out to Arsenal in a big way 5-1. It's difficult to look past the cherries, especially at home here, so I'm going to go for a high-scoring 3-1 win to Bournemouth, and the tip is going to be Bournemouth to win at 1.9. I considered both teams to score. I think this is the kind of game Crystal Palace could pull off somewhat of an upset, but I think I've tipped Bournemouth to win outright once this season at odds of evens. I like the odds, and I feel similarly about this game, so we're going to tip Bournemouth to win again at 1.9. Now, after this, it is Chelsea up against Fulham. Chelsea, as I said, coming off of a 0-0 draw with Everton. Fulham doing the same thing at exactly the same time against Southampton, of all teams, 0-0 there. That was a crazy, unexpected result. No one saw that coming, and if they did predict a draw, they certainly didn't predict 0-0. This game, I think it is going to be high scoring. I think there are going to be fireworks. I'm going to go for a 4-2 Chelsea win, and the tip is going to be Chelsea and both teams to score at 2.62. Somewhat of an old faithful tip for Chelsea for the most part. Other than the Everton game, really it has been quite fruitful for us on this channel this year. So Chelsea and both teams to score there. Now afterwards, we have an incredible game to predict. I'm finding a lot of these games this weekend very difficult, or this midweek I should say, very difficult to predict. And we have Newcastle up against Aston Villa. It's very difficult to bet against Aston Villa given their incredible performance against Manchester City at Villa Park. But if there's ever a team in the Premier League that benefits from a home advantage, I wouldn't even say it's Brentford. I would say it's Newcastle at St. James's Park. Brentford, I think, have been very fortunate with their home form with the teams that they've actually played at home. They've played everyone in the bottom half. They haven't played anyone up the top, and then they played Forest and lost. So I think their home record flatters them because they haven't played any good teams yet at home, Brentford. But speaking of Newcastle, I think at home they really do thrive and they really do flourish, and they finally started putting performances together, scoring lots of goals. They beat Ipswich 4-0, and we tipped Newcastle to win last week at 1.72. I think the odds were really good. Newcastle to win here, the odds are about 1.9. But I've gone for a different tip here. I'm going to go for Newcastle to win 2-1. And my tip is going to be Alexander Isak to score anytime at 2.25. You could pair that with a Newcastle win. The odds will probably be about 3, something like that, probably even more. But I just think even if this ends, 2-2 or something crazy, if Newcastle score twice, Isak, if he's playing, is probably going to score one of them. He's been in an outrageous run of form, and I think you can't ignore that. So I'll say Newcastle win, but I'll tip Isak to score anytime. Now, after this, it doesn't get any easier. It's Nottingham Forest up against Tottenham. Now, funny little fact about Tottenham. Obviously, I predicted in last week's video Liverpool and both teams to score and tipped Liverpool to win at 1.75 against Tottenham. But on the Saturday, my dad asked me what I thought the Tottenham-Liverpool score was going to be. And I said 6-2 to Liverpool. And he laughed. He laughed at me. And it was close. When they were 5-2 up, I thought it was going to happen. But it ended 6-3. Brilliant game. Now, Nottingham Forest have actually got a pretty decent defence this season. And as I sort of just mentioned, they went away to Brentford and got the first win of an away team at the G-Tech Community Stadium this season with a clean sheet. However, Tottenham games have tons of goals in. They just do. So I'm going to say that this ends in a high-scoring 2-2 draw. And the tip is just going to be both teams to score at 1.44. I think Forest could get the edge on Tottenham, but technically I think it's in anyone's nature to say that Tottenham are a better team, like on paper, even if they haven't been performing like it. So it wouldn't be surprising if Tottenham went and won this. I think it would be, actually. It'd be more surprising if Tottenham did than Forest win, but that's what the odds suggest. Forest slight favourites, so I'm going to go for a high-scoring draw. Now, after this, it is a South Coast, not really a South Coast derby, a South Coast match for two Southern Premier League teams. Southampton up against West Ham. Southampton getting a great point, for all things considered, against Fulham. Ramsdale back in goal is definitely an improvement for them. West Ham United, they score draw with Brighton. As I predicted, I said last week that Brighton should win that game and they'd find a way to not in a score draw. That's what happened. I actually think West Ham are going to win this one. I think West Ham, they are just a much better team than Southampton. And I think West Ham are a team that are too low down the league for the players that they have. So I'm going to say that West Ham get the win 2-1. And I think the odds are good enough. West Ham win at 2.2. I mean, West Ham draw no bets, probably like 1.5 or something like that. So I would say that's worth a shout. West Ham definitely not to lose against Southampton. I mean, who knows? It could happen. Southampton could be buoyed by that 0-0 draw if you can be. But I think West Ham should be good enough to win here. Now, after this, it's Wolves up against Manchester United. And I typed out these predictions, was doing some research whilst on a TikTok live. And I initially put 2-2 between Wolves and Manchester United. And I was somewhat coerced, convinced by the chat to change my prediction slightly to a Manchester United win. Now, the tip I said stays the same because I don't know which way this could go. This could be 3-0 either way. It could be a high-scoring draw. So instead of 2-2, I will say 2-1 Man United to shout out those in the live. But the tip stays the same at over 2.5 goals at 1.66. I think there's goals in this game. I just genuinely have no idea which way this is going to go. I mean, last week, Wolves beat Leicester 3-0. Bournemouth beat Man United 3-0. So Wolves coming off a 3-0 win. Man United coming off a 3-0 loss. To say Man United then win is difficult. But let's just say it. 2-1 Man United. They need a win. Over 2.5 goals, though, at 1.66. After this, it is Liverpool up against Leicester. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. We don't need to worry about the result. Liverpool are going to win. But by how many? I'm going to say that it'll be a high-scoring 5-1 win to Liverpool. And the tip is going to be over 4.5 goals at 2.3. If you go Liverpool and over 4.5 goals, it is exactly the same odds because that's how likely it is for Liverpool to win. So if you go over 4.5 goals, you've got a Liverpool win, a draw, I mean, incredibly, and a Leicester win onside as well, and you don't lose any value. So stay away from the result market. Go for overs, 4.5 at 2.3. You could go over 3.5 as well if you wanted. It's probably like 1.5, 1.6. But I genuinely think there could be 6 or 7 goals in this game. So I'm going to say, it feels fairly conservative at over 4.5 goals. After this, it's Brighton up against Brentford. Brentford losing their first game at home. Brighton drawing away to West Ham. I think this is going to be another frustrating draw for both teams. But hey, for Brentford, not too bad considering how poor their away form has been. Brighton have just been struggling to get wins, so I'm going to say a 1-1 draw, and the tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.5. And the final game of the game week, it is Arsenal up against Ipswich. Arsenal, brilliant victory against Crystal Palace, 5-1, winning by 4 goals, of course. Ipswich losing by 4 goals against Newcastle. I'm not going to dwell on this one too much. I think Ipswich could score. I'm going to go for a similar scoreline to the Palace game and say Arsenal to win 4-1. And I'm actually going to be very bold with the tip and say Arsenal -2 handicap at 2.1. So 3-0 and above, 4-1 and above, 5-2 and above, just to win by 3 or more goals. I think that's fairly likely given how Arsenal have finally started to put some results together. I think playing Palace twice did them a load of good, scoring 8 goals in the process. And I think they're going to take advantage of a weak Ipswich team who just lost heavily against Newcastle at home. I don't think they come to the Emirates and get anything, maybe a goal, but I think Arsenal score plenty in this one. But that is going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like. Like I said, make sure you subscribe down below. We're 163 subscribers away from 30,000. I don't know if we're going to get there. I think saying that if we get 30,000 subscribers and we'll make those extra videos in the new year at the start of the video, that probably will help bump the numbers up, but it's not looking likely. I don't, you know, I'm not sure. I'm genuinely 50-50 as to whether or not that'll happen. But either way, that is going to do it from me. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.